Hello, JJ DiGeronimo, and I'm here with my dear friend Sharon Ashcraft. You may have seen that we have been really going through some amazing wellness topics, exploring alternatives to prescriptions and using nature to help us heal or give us nutrients that we are maybe might be short in or can help us achieve new levels of energy or just really alignment to where we are. And this is part of a five-part series. So the last few weeks we have covered vitamins and minerals, herbal supplements, and today we are focusing on homeopathy. No,
Homeopathy.
home homeopathy. That's what we're focusing on today. And I practiced 6 times before we started, and I still got it wrong. It's a real tongue twister for someone who's dyslexic. So Sharon, I think it's just important to highlight that you are a wellness educator, that you are somebody who, in my mind, is a medicine woman. You've been doing this for 30 years. Not only have you had your own wellness store, right, that you helped hundreds and even thousands of people. You've worked for some really big brands in the wellness space. And I feel like having you here is so instrumental because you're sharing such wisdom with us. I know for you, this is, 101, but for many of us, this is our first glimpse at things other than basic vitamins or basic things that we see online. And so, can you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about today?
Okay, so homeopathy, first of all, I want to tell you that this modality of alternative healing was not one of my first choices. For years, I think I just didn't understand it, and when you don't understand something, you can't wrap your head around it. I kind of thought, well, it's one of those things that doesn't make any sense. But it makes a lot of sense once you understand it, and also if you've ever tried it or used it. And I am willing to bet that there are many people that are listening that have actually, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to show one thing right now. I bet many people have used, if you can see this, can you see it? Arnica. It comes in a cream, it comes in a gel, it also comes in this little blue tube. It's one of the really well-known remedies. People don't even realize that it's homeopathy or homeopathy, that it's a homeopathic remedy because it's so widely known, but it actually is. And that remedy is for like bruises. Somebody goes to the dentist and they are going to have dental work done, and it's going to be a trauma to the body. You do this first. Or if you are in sports and you get a sports injury, you can use the cream or the gel. So it's something that is already recognized, but maybe people don't realize that it's homeopathy. So what is homeopathy? It is a concept that was created way back in 1796 by a man named Samuel Hahnemann. And he wore several hats. He was a biochemist. He was a German doctor. He was a translator. He was a speaker. So he was a very curious person and really wanted to understand this concept. He saw a way to help people heal themselves or help rid themselves of diseases. And it goes on several different principles, but the basic one is like cures like. That's what you'll hear the most. And if you applied that to the medical world, it would be like a vaccine. So it's taking a small element of something, whatever it is, like for instance, the arnica, and it's recognizing that in a healthy person, they might manifest certain symptoms. And then if they took those symptoms and made it into a remedy and gave it to a person who was sick, that it would be just like the healthy person, where they could help get to that healthy state. And it's also like you have to dilute it, which we'll get into. I know that I'm getting ahead of myself here, but okay. So it operates on the like cures like, and it helps heal the body responses. So it helps trigger a response in the body to get it back to its natural state. and you use a very small amount. Like I said, it's not like taking penicillin where you have a certain large teaspoon of something. These are, like, for instance, these boron tubes, they contain little pellets, really tiny little pellets, and you take 6 at a time. So it's something, taking a small dose of something that has a certain amount of whatever it is that you want to get rid of, like the vaccine thing, only triggering the body to heal itself. Does that make any sense? It's kind of hard to understand it.
So you take it once you have something rather than a vaccine that's more preventative.
Well, if you are showing symptoms of something, um, like for instance, if you are somebody you're around someone, if you and I were together and you told me you had the flu, there's a remedy that is very popular, and it actually one of the ingredients is from a duck liver, and you would take that to prevent the symptoms from coming on you.
Got it.
But most people take the homeopathy when they already have the illness, like you're saying. Except, like I said, if somebody knows they're going to the dentist, you're going to have dental work, your body's going to be put into a trauma, take the pellets ahead of time. So you're preparing it, but you also want to take it after. You break a bone, you take the pellets, the arnica pellets.
So was this essentially the first type of medicine?
No, it was just the first type of, it's pseudo-scientific. So it's not scientifically proven, but there are a lot of tests and a lot of studies that have been done that have proven it. It's just that you can't prove it scientifically, but it's a pseudoscience concept.
And can you buy this stuff at your local store, like
A
your
lot of
local pharmacy?
a lot of grocery stores carry it. Health food stores carry it. All like the Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, those places all carry it. The blue tubes are very, very popular. They actually even a lot of them will say right on it like this one says muscle aches, stiffness, swelling. It tells you, like if you don't know, usually a lot of the stores will, excuse me, will have a chart, and it'll tell you the ailment that you have, and you just look down the chart, and then it'll tell you which one it is. And there's things like that are poisonous, like belladonna is an example of something. It's, again, tiny little element. There's so many different homeopathic remedies that are geared for a specific thing. There's even here's something called Topricin. It's a pain reliever, and this has many different this has belladonna, it has arnica, it has graphite, it has Rux Tox, it has all kinds of different homeopathic remedies in one cream made to relieve, a joint issue.
I have so many questions. I mean, I'm like, okay, so like last week we talked about tinctures, right? We talked about tinctures, which are essentially abstracts from things on the land,
Mhm.
herbs, flowers,
Right.
certain things that we're making a compressed, essentially liquid.
So,
So how does this differ from that?
um, it's a completely different concept. So it's taking this random arnica, for instance, and
What is arnica?
well, arnica, I believe, is like a flower or a
A
plant.
flower. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can take it can be something from the earth, or it can be something that's, like I said, it could, silica. Here, that's another one. It can be an element of something. They're all abstract. There are going to be things that you don't recognize the name of. I mean, there's things that help snake venom. It's pretty broad, but it's that little molecule. That's the word I'm looking for. Molecule. So you have molecules, and they're put together in a solution, and then they're pressed using sugar substance. They're pressed into these tiny little pellets, and or it could be in a cream, whatever, but they start out in these pellets. And then it's shaken vigorously in dilutions. And then that's how you get like the pellets that actually form. And then there is another thing that you have to be really careful with when you're taking these things. The top, you always want to open it from you move it back and forth. And I know you can't see this, but you move it back and forth. And in the bottom, you might be able to see that see how
Yes.
it's not. Okay, so you'll get 6 of them down here in the bottom. And then when you open it up, you're going to pop it directly under your tongue. You want it to dissolve under the tongue. You don't want to touch it with your hands ever, because the hands negate the potency. And 2 other things that you don't want to do are have any caffeine or any mint before you do that, because that in your mouth will negate the property of the homeopathic remedy, the solution that it's in.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, you got me. You lost me, but I'm back on board with you. I don't think I've ever really seen these things, honestly, and I've never even heard of them. So that's why I love that we're having these series, because you're educating me, but I feel like we're educating many, because I feel like there's just so many things out there that it's hard to make sense of what is what and when to use them. So, when you first sent me all the information, I noticed there's like all these terms on there, right? There's 6C, 12C, 6 times. Like, okay, now what do I do with all those numbers?
Okay, so that's a really good question. And that gets very confusing as well. That's why I think it's hard for people until they've used it or tried it, to really believe in it. So the C means centesimal. So it's 1 to 100 ratio that something has been diluted out. So it's 100 times diluted. So it has a very small molecule amount of that product. Now, a 6C versus a 12C, the 12C has been more diluted. Here's the hard to wrap your head around part. The 12C has been diluted a lot more than the 6C. However, the 12C is stronger than the 6C. So you can dilute it all out to 1,000, which basically has no more molecule piece to it, but it's the highest potency of any of them. So when you go to a store, though, you're going to see 6C, or you might see 6X, and the X is 1 to 10 ratio. So it's diluted to the 10th piece times 6. So it would be shaken vigorously 6 times after it's been diluted 10. So it's a whole process of how it works. Now, a homeopathic doctor would prescribe like a 200C level. That's usually what you'll see. If somebody is really ill, they're going to go from 200 up. You can occasionally find 200Cs in certain remedies in stores, but you're almost always going to get the 6X, 6C, 12, or a 30. And the 30 would be the most diluted and the most potent. So the common ones most people take are the 6.
Just to get used to it, see if it works, that types of thing. And it really, you probably should be working with a functional medicine or homeopathic doctor.
Yes, unless you're doing something as common as, this arnica gel relief, where it's like over the counter. It'd be like going to buy an over the counter Bengay, and instead,
Mhm.
you're using arnica or the Topperson. That would be also, something that would be fine. But if you're very ill, if you have something that requires, what you would consider medical attention, it would be a good idea to go to a homeopathic doctor or someone who is well versed in homeopathy that would be able to mix different boron tubes that you might need And also, they're probably going to be using other things. If you're that ill, you're probably going to be
Mm.
using other things too. You might be mixing it with tinctures. You might be using herbs. You don't always have to pick one modality. You don't have to be using just herbal supplements or just homeopathy. It's a good idea to be well-rounded, to have some of each one, depending on what works best.
This is so interesting. I'm just learning so much. Before I let you go, I need to know what tissue salt is because you sent me a picture and I was like, "Ooh, tell me more." Because I feel like so many times our body actually needs good salts. I don't know if it's tissue salt is salt or is it something else?
Okay, so tissue salts it's another concept of homeopathy, but it considered homeopathy, but that is 12 specific salts, minerals. And so it's the cell, it's like to rejuvenate our cells. Um, but it's all the cell salts are basically 12 different minerals. So it could be calcium, like there's one called calc phos, so there's different, you would look them up and see if there was something. Let's say, you knew you were, you needed some more calcium in your body. You could take a cell salt if you wanted to, that contain calcium.
Mm.
But they're very specific to the 12, where homeopathy is hundreds of different remedies.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I feel like there's so many things people could be taking that they would enhance their life with really just using natural substances, natural remedies to enhance not only their energy, but how they feel, some of their like physical makeup.
And these are very safe, even for children. Like a toddler can take homeopathic remedies. That's what's really nice about it too, is there's no fear of a child taking it. Like with a tincture, there is, with other herbal supplements, and vitamins, you have to be careful because some of them can be toxic, or some of them, can be too potent. But the majority of homeopathic remedies, especially the little boron blue tubes, those are pretty safe.
It's amazing. You never hear about them. I mean, my kids are close to 20, but never one time did they come up in the pharmacy, like at the pharmacy or even at the pediatrician, not one time.
Yeah. Well, if you go to Whole Foods, for instance, they have a big clear rack that has all the different homeopathic remedies, and it'll have like the name of the remedy and what it's for. And then you might see it has a little thing where they roll out. So when you pull one out, more come down. It's like a little canister thing. But they usually carry a basic 40 of them, and some places carry more. Like a health food store would have more. They might have quite a few.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you might find me there next time I'm at like a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's. I'll be staring at all of
Well,
these
check
little
them out.
bottles.
Check them out because they have them for hot flashes. And I know you've been doing a lot of talks with women on menopause. So there's one for hot flashes. There's all different kinds. I mean, it's worth checking out if especially if you've tried other medicines or tried things that didn't work. It's not going to hurt you, and it's a great tool to open up your mind and try something different.
Ah, well, this is so good. Is there anything else anyone needs to know before we part ways?
I can't really think of anything. Just don't really worry so much about the whether it's a 6X. Don't get hung up on that part, because what's offered in the stores are going to be the basic ones. If you had a question that's, if it's a little more serious, you definitely would want to look into going to a homeopathic remedy doctor. Also, just like anything else, use it with caution. Look into it and just try it.
Well, I'm loving this conversation. I learn something every time we get together, Sharon. Usually multiple things. There are things I'm doing now that I would not have been never started had we not started these conversations. So I'm super excited to have this time with you. Sharon's contact information is below. You can reach her on Facebook, or you can send us a message and she can reach out to you directly. But I really appreciate you taking the time. And next time we get together, we're going to be talking about flower essence remedies.
Yeah,
Flower essence.
yeah,
So I cannot wait because we've talked about this, but not in great detail. throughout our friendship. And I'm really looking to having this deep dive with you, the 101 with you, I should say. So
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. I love all these conversations. Thank you for joining us. And if you have specific questions, you can ask Sharon directly. Her contact information is below. Thank you and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.